Nashville doesn't wait for perfect conditions. When the skies opened up over the Superspeedway and wiped out qualifying entirely, the whole race weekend got flipped upside down. And suddenly, one driver who never had to throw down a single fast lap walked straight to the front of the grid. No sweat, no fight. Just pole position handed to him by the rulebook. That changes everything about how this race plays out tonight. Here's what went down. Rain hit Nashville Superspeedway roughly 30 minutes before the Xfinity Series, running under its O'Reilly Auto Parts banner this weekend, was set to practice and qualify. NASCAR had no choice. Session canceled. Grid locked in by owner point standings per the rulebook. That put Jesse Love driving the number 2 Richard Childress Racing Chevrolet on the pole for the Sports Illustrated Resorts 250, 250 miles on a 133-mile concrete oval, 188 laps. Green flag drops at approximately 6:30 p.m. Central. You're watching it on the CW network or streaming on Fubo TV if you've got it in your market. And tucked all the way back in 38th, Cleetus McFarland in an RCR Chevy, making his second career start. The internet is going to have opinions about that. Let's talk about what a rain-canceled qualifying session actually does to a race like this. On a concrete oval like Nashville, track position is a weapon. It's not like a superspeedway where drafting can bail you out from the back of the pack. Here, the guy who gets clean air, who avoids early contact, who doesn't get bottled up in traffic, that guy controls his own destiny. Qualifying tells you who's fast on a single lap. Points order tells you who's been consistently good all season. Those are two very different things, and right now, we're racing on the second one. Jesse Love has been building something real this year. At just 20 years old, he's arguably the most exciting young talent in the Xfinity Series right now. He doesn't need a gift, but he'll absolutely take one. Starting up front at Nashville, where passes are genuinely difficult, puts him in a position to control the race rather than react to it. Meanwhile, Kyle Larson is in this field, starting 6th in the number 88 JR Motorsports Chevrolet. Current Cup Series champion is no stranger to dropping down to the Xfinity level and immediately making the front runners uncomfortable. Don't let that 6th starting spot fool you. Larson at Nashville is a threat from lap 1. And Nashville has a storyline this weekend beyond the race itself. The Superspeedway is honoring Kyle Busch during this race weekend. That adds a layer of emotion to the whole event, especially for the RCR organization, an organization that Busch has deep history with across his career. Here's where it gets genuinely interesting strategically. Because qualifying was wiped out, teams never got a read on how their specific setups would behave on this track surface today. In these conditions, everyone goes into lap 1 somewhat blind. That favors experience. That favors adaptability. That is precisely where a driver like Larson or a team like Joe Gibbs Racing, which has William Sawalich, Taylor Gray, Brandon Jones, and Brent Cruz all in this race, holds a real institution-y edge. JGR's pit crew communication, their ability to adjust mid-race and call the right strategy, on-stage breaks, that's an organizational weapon. When you're flying in the dark on setup, the team that reads the race better than everyone else wins. And historically, JGR reads races better than most. Now, Jesse Love, starting on the pole, sets up a fascinating dynamic. Does he try to lead every lap and wear out his tires, or does he play a conservative stage strategy and save the car for the long final run of 98 laps? That third stage is where this race gets decided. Concrete tracks like Nashville tend to create tire fall off the compounds over long green flag runs. A driver who's been managing tires through stages 1 and 2 will have an enormous advantage in the closing miles. The wild card here, and I mean a genuine wild card, is Sheldon Creed in the number form. Hookah. Haas Factory Team Chevrolet. Creed has unfinished business at Nashville. He's fast on ovals, he's aggressive, and he's got nothing to lose in terms of points pressure that would make him play it safe. Creed could absolutely disrupt the top 5 tonight. Cleetus McFarland starting 38 is a storyline the broadcast will probably touch on, but in terms of race impact, he's a non-factor for the win. He's there for the experience in the content. Nothing wrong with that, but don't expect him threatening the leaders. The NASCAR fan base is split on rain-canceled qualifying, and they're pretty loud about it. One side sees the rulebook lineup as boring. Fans want to see drivers earn their spots, their speed, not championship points from 3 months ago. The other side, frankly, the more analytically minded side, recognizes that points order reflects sustained excellence, not one hot lap on a Friday afternoon. What fans are not split on is Kyle Larson in an Xfinity field. The moment that was announced, social media lit up. There's a certain electricity when a Cup-level talent enters a developmental series race. Is it fair? Is it a sign that the Cup guys should stay in their lane? That debate never really dies in NASCAR circles. The Cleetus McFarland angle is going to bring in a whole different audience tonight. The YouTube racing community, the grassroots fans, people who might not watch every single Xfinity race but absolutely tune in when an internet personality is on the grid. That's actually good for the sport. And the ratings people at the CW network know it. Jesse Love converts pole position into a dominant performance, leads the most laps, and closes out the final stage with clean air and fresh enough tires to hold off a late charge. Love gets a statement win at a track where winning isn't easy, and he firmly announces himself as the guy to beat in the Xfinity Championship conversation for the rest of the season. The RCR Chevrolet program gets a huge moment, and with the Kyle Busch tribute happening this weekend, the emotional storyline writes itself. The chaos of a no-qualifying lineup, combined with a field full of drivers running unfamiliar setups, creates a high-attrition race. Love gets caught up in someone else's wreck. Larson avoids the mess, puts together a methodical charge through the field, and by the final stage, he's in clean air, while the rest of the front runners are either damaged or spent. A Cup champion wins an Xfinity race at Nashville, and the story becomes less about the series itself and more about whether stars from the top division should be allowed to come down and take these opportunities from drivers who run Xfinity full-time. That's a debate that gets uncomfortable fast. Tonight's race at Nashville is more than a lineup. It's a test of preparation versus talent, of systems versus instinct, of who wants it more when the conditions were never what anyone planned for. So here's the question I'm throwing to you, and I genuinely want to know, should Cup Series regulars like Kyle Larson be allowed to come into Xfinity races and compete for wins? Or does that take something away from the full-time Xfinity drivers who are grinding every single week to build their careers? Drop your take in the comments. Make your case. And if this kind of deep dive NASCAR breakdown is what you're looking for every race weekend, you already know what button to hit.